Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. And boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, look, man. Finally, looks like they're a step closer to finally making the undisputed distinction at 175 between Dimitri Bivol and Beterbiev. But you know what sucks about all this is this fight should have happened, this year. It should have happened this year. But the secret society, the powers that be in the WBC, man, they just decided to make everything super complicated for Bivol, and to make sure they made everything convenient for themselves, because boxing is a business, and the business is jacketed by the sport. Now, this is the thing. When you look at Dimitri Bivol, people forget that when you talk about Dimitri Bivol, right, and everything that he's done in his career, being 21 wins with 11 knockouts, he was fighter of the year. People forget that. He was named fighter of the year. And when I talk to some boxing fans, some of them still don't even know who he is. And that's ridiculous, especially when you think about what he did in the ring against Canelo Alvarez, where he destroyed him. And then he came out there after that and fought Gilberto Ramirez and totally outclassed him. But this is what's frustrating for me, is like you see a guy like Bivol who comes out and puts on these outstanding performances against, I would say Canelo is a huge name. Canelo, he took a shot at greatness. He came up short. It is what it is. But for a guy like Bivol to beat Canelo, then, the way he did Gilberto Ramirez in such a dominating fashion, you would think that they would have immediately taken that momentum and just carried it over into an undisputed distinction with Beterbiev, who had nothing going on. So they were trying to make that fight, but the WBC came in and they killed all that. Now, for those of you who say, well, when they're trying to make an undisputed fight, that takes precedence over mandatories. Let me tell you something. No, it doesn't. Right? And I've been trumpeting that. And now people are starting to realize that the undisputed distinction, more times than not, it will take precedence if it's a win-win for everybody involved in the secret society's pockets. But when it's not, they're not going to do it. That's why the WBC, they push, Caleb Smith as the mandatory to face Beterbiev. So he's going to get in there. Beterbiev, when he fought Yardy, he showed that he still has the power. He was an amazing amateur, but he's old, man. Beterbiev has been doing this for a long time. Do I think Caleb Smith beats him? If he's tall, so if he uses his boxing ability and doesn't get cut off and end up taking some damage, man, he can make it interesting. But I got to favor Beterbiev to beat Caleb Smith. And the thing about it, right, is Eddie Hearn, he has a lot to do with this fight going forward, okay? Because he's looking to change all the crap that's been going on with Bivol and Beterbiev. He is trying to make that fight as soon as he possibly can. Because Bivol's fighting on January 13th. He's still waiting on an opponent. Beterbiev's fighting on January 13th against Caleb Smith. And what makes all of this interesting, right, is if you look at what happened in Saudi Arabia with Beterbiev and Bivol, that was the first time I've ever seen the two of them, come face to face and have a conversation or say anything. But you could see that there was a little bit of, I would say, awkwardness there. Like if someone said the wrong thing, they could have gotten to a shoving match. More from Beterbiev's end, because Bivol's more cool. Like, you never know what he's thinking. But, he has such a stone face. But I was like, wow, when they were there talking to each other, and then they did like a little face-off, I was like, no, these guys really want to fight each other. So you can see there's some frustration on the end of the fighters. But now with Fast Eddie Hearn seeming to trying to insert himself in the process, it's like, I think that's adding even more anticipation of the desired fight between the two. But we're going to see what happens when Beterbiev takes on Caleb Smith in Canada. Now, for those of you who are wondering, why the hell is Beterbiev and Caleb Smith fighting in Canada and not fighting in the UK or somewhere else? It's because Beterbiev has settled down in Canada, so he's that's home for him now. He doesn't live in Russia. Bivol lives in California. He doesn't live in Russia, so it only makes sense to try to draw that crowd out there in Canada for such a huge fight with Beterbiev putting his 3 titles on the line. But as far as Bivol, look, this is where you start seeing who's putting duck sauce on the fried rice, because they've kind of gone through a handful of opponents already, and some guys just don't want to take the fight with Bivol. And I think when you come out, it's like, I talk about this all the time, like Zahir Rahim when he beat Eric Morales. You think he would have gone on to a huge fight, but fighters get scared. They're like, whoa, he did that to Eric Morales, what will he do to me? And that's kind of what how some boxers feel when it comes to Dimitri Bivol. Like, damn, he did that to Canelo, then he came and clipped Zurdo Ramirez, but he did that to Canelo. What's he gonna do to me? And so Bivol, he should get a quality opponent, but he may not get the opponent that we think he should fight. And that's what sucks, because let me pull this up. I got it up already. This is what sucks about being in a position like Bivol, right? And this is where sanctioning bodies, they got to do better. They really have to do better. I'm going to pull something up and show y'all something. Here we go. Pull it up right now while we talk. Okay. There we go. Let's pull it up right now. Let's see. That's not what I wanted right there. Right here. Okay. It's coming up right now. I'm going to show you. I don't need that little pop-ups. Pop-ups jumping up on the screen. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this. So right here, when you look at the light heavyweight division, you see Bivol, as far as the ring rankings, it's vacant because they don't have an undisputed fighter, and no one's fought for that. But once Bivol and Beterbiev fight, they'll also fight for the vacant title. But when you look where Bivol's ranked here as a WBA champion, right? You would think he would be fighting either a Buatsi, an Aziz, a Yardi, Albert Ramirez, Richard Oliveira, one of those names. But the thing about the 175-pound division, not many people know the fighters there. And because he's the WBA champion, it's not like he can jump over to the WBC and fight a Durrell or some of these other names. He can't just do that. He's got to fight someone in the WBA. So when you look, I think Buatsi just lost. I think it was Buatsi who just fought and lost. I can't remember. Somebody just fought and lost from the UK. Then you got Aziz. You already may get the fight. I don't know. Eddie Hearn may be trying to work on that. But you just don't know. But again, that's what sucks about Bivol, is he can end up getting a fight with someone who's probably ranked like around number 8 or 9, because the 1 and 2 and 3 guys may see him as too much of a risk and turn the fight down. That's where the sanctioning bodies, in my opinion, when you got guys ranked number 1, 2, and 3 and they turn fights down against the champion, kick him out the ranking. Simple. To me, there's nothing to discuss. Get rid of him. But one thing I'll tell you is when you got the champion who wants to fight and guys who don't want to fight him, I think that's unfortunate. But again, more to come on what happens with Bivol's opponent. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people who feel Caleb Smith has a chance against Beterbiev. And they feel that he will knock Beterbiev out because Beterbiev seems to have slowed just enough to where Caleb Smith can catch up to him. Now, for those of you who don't know who Caleb Smith is, he can fight. He's part of the Smith brothers. His brother is Liam Smith. You probably know him from his most recent fight where he lost to Eubank Jr. The fight previous to that, he actually knocked out Eubank Jr. But there's a bunch of them guys, man. They've been known ever since they've been amateurs. The family name is strong, and it's a respected family when it comes to boxing. But Caleb Smith can fight. He can hit too, man. And it'll be interesting to see how the fight plays out with him and Beterbiev. But again, Beterbiev can be hurt, but man, he does more. He can be hurt, but he does more of the hurting in fights. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But if he gets a win, Beterbiev, and Bivol gets a win, I think we'll finally get that showdown. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If Caleb Smith gets that win, I think that fight will happen. I think that Undisputed distinction will happen, definitely happen next. Because you see how fast Eddie, he's not playing around, man. Eddie Hearn needs another flagship fighter. Eddie Hearn needs belts over there on Matchroom. Once Anthony Joshua lost those belts, Eddie Hearn was kind of in the breeze, and he's still in the breeze. So he needs to have someone do something big for Matchroom. That way he can go out here, man, and try to take that fight over to Saudis and sell it to them and start to get some of that Saudi money again. Because right now, outside of Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn really doesn't have anyone that he can really take over to Saudi for a huge fight. So it is what it is. That being said, maybe we'll get the Undisputed at 175, maybe around July 2024. We just got to wait and see how things play out and what the secret society says, because at the end of the day, they do what's best for them, not necessarily for the fighters. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.